How's everybody doing today? So I see once again, we've had it put into our face that white folks, we are the problem. We're the problem. We're the problem. Our refusal to honestly deal with our history of hatred, racism, genocide is a problem. Our inability to see where the unhealthiness of our culture is the problem. Our inability to see how racism and Christianity all tied up in together is the problem. And the biggest problem is that we do not see we are the problem. God bless everyone. Have a beautiful afternoon.
White men are the mental health problem in this country. Jim Crow, white men. Slavery, white men. Segregation, white men. Concentration camps for Asian Americans in the late 30s and early 40s. 1,800 people died. How many black people were hung from trees? 8,000. Let me guess. Oh yeah, once again, white men. The gun violence? 98% are men. 84% are white men. U.S. citizens. I see a trend. How about the Middle Passage where 1.2 African Americans died? Oh yeah, once again, white men. Why was the Second Amendment written? Let me think. So black people couldn't have their freedoms. So the white men could once again control them. Who's in the White House? An adjudicated rapist, convicted felon white man. Wow, I see a trend. But somehow Americans are just begging to blame a trans person, a non-white person. See, what happened to George Floyd is symbolic of what's happening in this country. The white man putting his knee on the neck of a non-white person and sitting there in broad daylight with the balls to say, who's going to stop me? And that's what we're seeing right now. So that's the question that we need to ask ourselves as a fucking country. Who's going to stop them? Because I'm just one person here. Now, I don't know about you, but I got friends and family that are sitting behind the white privilege, and I want nothing to do with them. Not because of who they are, because their lack of action. Martin Luther King said, history is going to remember not the people that did bad things, but the good people that stood by and did nothing. Because once again, the white man is hiding behind their privilege while everybody else is getting treated like absolute fucking garbage. Because it doesn't affect me. You don't even want to go on a general strike to stop fascism. Oh, I can't work. Oh, I got a job. White man is the mental health crisis in the United States of America. It has been since day one. When you look at the majority of them, what do you see? A bunch of insecure little wannabe alpha males with small penises that need big trucks and guns to feel like a real man. That's the real problem, is toxic masculinity. That the white man feels unable to shit on everyone's rights just because of how they look. It's ironic, isn't it, that they demonize black people because they're black on the outside, and yet their hearts are black on the inside. Isn't that ironic? And every single time we see a mass shooting, they're just salivating on the white supremacist red hatters to say, oh my gosh, it was an immigrant, it was a trans person, it was a gay people. 84% of gun violence is white men. But when it happens, like at the church the other day, what happens? Oh, thoughts and prayers. But what happened with the racist podcaster? Oh, they were just dying for it to be somebody on the left so they can just blame somebody else. A white man. The Catholic, the church yesterday. A white man. 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 Ahmaud Arbery. Guess what? 3 white men that chased out a black guy. Breonna Taylor. Oh, a white cop. Again and again and again and again and again. It's the same demographic. White men are the problem in this fucking country. And until we address the real mental health epidemic, which is white supremacy built on white men controlling people, because that's how this country was designed, for 21-year-old landowning white men to shit on everybody else. This country was designed to benefit my demographic, and that is not okay. That is the original sin of this country. And until we address it, we will never be a great country, and we haven't been a great country. And if you don't like that, then you can ship.
Can we talk about how miserable white people are for a second? Like, you know that white people are miserable, right? Like, have you ever looked a white person in the eye, even if they're like a big mental health person? You just look deep down and you're like, brother, you are not happy at all. And truly, it breaks my heart. But one reason, I think, one of the main reasons that a lot of white people, a lot of us are really unhappy and miserable is because we lack internal congruence. Now, congruence is a concept we learned early in grad school to help people heal. And congruence is basically internal alignment. Values and actions are on the same page, right? Like we accept every part of ourselves. We feel peace, security in who we are, congruence. And no matter how hard you try, you can never find internal congruence if you're not congruent with the world around you. If you're not understanding what's real and seeing reality and affirming what's true. So like white people who deny patriarchy and capitalism's negative effect and oppression of the world and genocide that's happening around the world, like that's incongruent with reality. That is going to have an effect on us internally. Because to deny what's happening in real time, we have to deny certain parts of us, certain emotions, certain thoughts that come up. And the more we run for that, the more incongruent and separate we feel, the more dissonance that comes, the more miserable we are. And a lot of times we're not actually dealing with our own pain and our own reality because we're all suffering under capitalism and white supremacy. Like it affects us different ways in intersectionality, but like it affects us white people too. You don't think a stormtrooper in the fucking Star Wars movies hates his life? You don't think he hates being bossed around all the time? You don't think poor white people living in the empire, like in a city walls, like in a Game of Thrones, like you don't think that they're miserable under it, even though they're not miserable the most? To be congruent inside, to not be miserable anymore, it takes accepting the realities of the world, seeing how those toxic systems affect us, and then moving to actually be congruent. Because deep down, humanity has goodness at its center. So yeah, white people, we're miserable because we're not congruent, because we're denying the realities of the world, and thus denying ourselves.
Why have white Americans been afraid to start or celebrate White History Month?
Oh, there's so many reasons, but really, I think it starts in the public schools when we're little. We've just really been conditioned into this kind of suicidal tendency, culturally suicidal tendency of like hating ourselves. And so most white people that hear anything positive about white culture, history, or the white race immediately kind of have this reflexive reaction of negativity. We've been really shamed as a race and a people to not appreciate our own heritage and be able to talk about that and to talk about being proud or happy or content with our ancestors and our culture and where we come from and what we've done.
Welcome back again to the channel. I'm happy that you're here and I'm happy that you decided to make this channel a stopover once again. I really do appreciate. God bless you and God prosper you. I love when you're here and I love when you always support me. Thank you so much. Now, white people have a problem, and the good thing is that they accept the fact that they have a problem. You know, when somebody has a problem, the first cure of the problem or the first thing that can make you solve the problem is to accept the problem, is to accept the fact that there is a problem and you have it. Okay, now many don't accept the fact that they have a problem, but some do accept. A few of them who feel like, sincerely speaking, we have been a problem for quite some time, and it's high time we accept the fact that we have been a problem. That is the only way that we can be able to make things better or work things out in a better way. So the white Americans, some of them, and especially in this video, I have a bunch of clips of white Americans who are really accepting the fact that they've been problems for years. Now, let us go back to the root cause. Let us try to trace where did all this began from. Okay, now, white Americans are being made to believe that they are actually the best people. They are actually the most important people, that any other people are not important. And in Africa or in a black culture, this does not happen in Africa alone. It also happens amongst the black culture. When kids are brought up, they say that samaki mkunje angali mbichi. This means you can break a fish when it is still fresh from water. But the moment this fish is now out of water, it has been dried, it is very difficult for you to break it. It is very difficult for you to turn it. So you can only turn it when it is still fresh. When it is not fresh, when it has been out of the water, it has been dried and all that, when you try to turn it, it breaks. Okay? So what I'm saying is, character and behavior people acquire. Okay, people do not born with character and behavior. People don't get like children are not given birth to with character and behavior. Character and behavior, this is something that we acquire in our daily life through the things we are being told, through the activities we encounter in our daily life, through the things we come across in our daily life. That is how we acquire character and behavior. Okay, and in this case, white people, many of them, and a lot of them, a good number of them, if not a good number of them, then all of them, they were exposed to a narrative that you are the best people. Okay? It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter how people see you. It doesn't matter you're right or wrong. You're always right. It doesn't matter you're making a decision that does not make any sense. You are always right and you are always the best. That is how they were told. Okay, so the white people grew up knowing that we are the best and nobody can ever tell us anything because we are the best. They should be consulting from us. They should be asking for ways or for directions or for the way forward from us. We should be ruling because we are the best. We have been told we are the best. We understand we are the best, and this is who we are. So regardless of what they could do, whether it was good or bad, they lived knowing they are the best. That is who and that is what white Americans knew. They grew up knowing, nobody can tell us anything. Nobody can actually speak to us in a certain manner. Yeah, they grew up knowing we are the civilized one. We are the literate ones. Okay, they grew up knowing we are the chosen one. We are the special one. The rest, we lead as the rest follows. We are the ones who are supposed to live under privilege. We are the ones to be favored. If anything comes by, we are the ones to be considered first. The rest should come after us. That is how they lived. Okay? And that was not what was really the history of the white people. But the system was made and the system was created to make the white people look at themselves as the better people compared to other people. And the black people were like the less fortunate, the disabled ones, the ones who are not potential. They were disqualified from the society, and everybody else looked at them like people who does not make any sense. So anything a black person would do was disqualified, whether of if it's better or it's good or bad. Nobody cared about it. It was disqualified instantly. And that is how black people were disqualified every other time. So children grew up, even white children grew up in the midst of the black children, and they saw themselves better compared to the black children. They saw themselves important compared to the black children. And the white children grew up with this character. Now, when a child grows with a character, with a certain character, it becomes part of them. It becomes part of like him or her, and it sticks to the skin. They say tabia ni ngozi, a character is a skin, behavior is a skin. It is something that is in the skin. Okay, it becomes you. So that is how they grew. Okay, for years it has caused them problems. It has caused them misfortunes for many years. Many of them, they never knew that they were actually cooking or preparing for a problem until a problem befell on them. They didn't know what we're creating here. It is something that will attack us later, or something that will bring a lot of problems to us later, until the same problem befell on them. Until they started facing the music, that is when they knew, oh, so all the things we've been doing and all the life we've been living was a lie. This is not how we were supposed to be living. This is not how we should have been living. We've been living a lie for many years, and now what we are experiencing, it is something that we would have stopped it, or rather, we would have at least prevented it from happening. But now we can no longer prevent it from happening. The only thing we need to do right now for us to be able to stop the whole story or the whole thing from happening is to accept we made a mistake, is to accept we fell for the wrong narrative, we fell for the wrong doctrine, and now begin to make a change. Because the only way we can make a change is, first of all, let us accept who we are, what we've been doing. Let us accept we've been a problem for quite some time. We've been a problem for years. And now, from there, let's make a change. Let's take a turnaround and start doing things in a different way. And it is the best step, the best thing for anybody to do. I really find it so good and interesting to see these people identifying that they've been a problem. Yeah, because the moment you identify you've been a problem, you bring a change. That is now accepting yourself. By accepting yourself, it means you also consider those other people who were disqualified and they were disfigured for quite some time, and now you're feeling like, they were not supposed to be going through these kind of things. I want you to take your time. Take a look at these videos, watch them, and then as you're watching them, let me know what you have to say on the comment section about them. But before you watch these videos, kindly, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to this channel if maybe you're watching me for the first time. Okay, let's grow together, let's work things out together. If you've not joined the membership, kindly try and join the membership, become part of this channel, part of the team, yeah, and let's see what we can be able to do together, how far we can be able to get together. Okay, but before you do that, now let's take time, let's watch the video, because that is what we're here for. And as you're watching this video, have your thoughts shared with me. Prepare your thoughts, have them shared in the comment section. Tell me what you think about it, and then I'll do my best to make sure I read all the comments and give a response where possible. And thanks for coming. But until then, let's take a look at the video.
My hot take of today is that white people actually have a lot of generational trauma, and we've just normalized it as supremacy. I actually think about this a lot because when I was in my process of unlearning white supremacy and the things that it made me believe about myself and the world, and that just made me miserable, I realized that white people believe this on the regular, and it must make them really, really tortured inside. Like the other day I made a video about how growing up in a super white town kind of made me feel like I had to perform something inauthentic because I wasn't the norm, right? And this comment didn't really make me mad or anything. Don't worry about it. I could really tell it was coming from a place of I genuinely do not know what's going on. But this white guy commented and he was like, "You should just be yourself. That's not healthy." No, it's not healthy. I think the whole point is that it's not healthy because when you're conditioned to believe in a system where one type of person is supposed to be better than all the others, obviously to enforce that system, they're gonna project everybody that is not that standard, everybody that's not white. They're gonna project self-hatred onto them because it exists within the person that is projecting it. What I'm basically trying to say is that white supremacy can't really exist without a little bit of self-hatred from the white supremacist, because why would you feel the need to create a system that enforces that you are superior if you didn't somewhere deep down inside you fear that you weren't superior or that you weren't good enough? All that system really does at the end of the day is create an environment where certain people feel like they need to perform a certain level of perfection to be considered human, right? But what that does at the end of the day is it removes any value from you if you aren't showing up as perfect. And I thought about this a lot in Sinners, where that idea of white supremacy, especially shown through religion, is the vampires don't have a soul, and they need the people that are creative, that the black people that are making music, so that they can find their soul again. Why is that? Because white supremacy stripped them of their soul. And so the result of unlearning a system like that is being able to accept yourself when other people don't like you, or when the standards in place say that you don't deserve respect or things like that. But when you are following that system, you're bound to those rules. You're bound to other people's opinions of you and monetary value and things like that. All these things that at the end of the day are probably going to disappear and will eventually change. You're bound to that as a way to define your worth in this system. And that that is unhealthy. That's really unhealthy. But y'all stay safe.
When someone says all white people are racist, they're not saying all white people are bad. They're saying all white people are subject to the sociological and psychological conditioning of society where racism is a fundamental systemic issue. They're saying all white people suffer from the sociological phenomenon of living in a world, in a country where racism, systemic racism, is a fundamental thing that makes that society exist. That means as white people, we have subconscious processes and behaviors that come out as a direct result of that. Behaviors that actively cause harm to other people, behaviors we need to become aware of, mindsets we need to work on.
Hot take, but a lot of white people are not happy. I'm Kylie, and I grew up in a very conservative area. I wanted to say that a lot of white people genuinely live some of the most miserable and isolated lives that you could even imagine. I think there are 3 reasons for this. The first is that there is just a general idea of just hyper-individualism and hoarding of resources. A lot of them are extremely stingy, don't tip well, and also don't donate to local charities. They're very isolated, and what few friends they have, their connection is built upon shared bigotry, which is obviously not a strong connection. Number 2, a lot of white people feel a sense of emptiness. They have the job, the car, the career, the kids, the Bible, but they don't feel that sense of fulfillment. I think it's because the subliminal messaging that white people get from birth is that they're so much better than everybody else. And once you're in that sort of position, you will not allow yourself to open up to other people and opportunities that would genuinely bring you joy and fulfillment. And the third reason is that a lot of white people genuinely feel like equality is the oppression of white people. That means other people getting rights means that some of ours get taken away somehow, which obviously isn't true and shows the hyper-competitive nature of being white in America.
The majority of school blank and mass blank that are happening across this country are being committed by white boys. So let me ask you this. If you're a parent, white women, what are we doing? Because this year in April, I got married, and in doing so became a bonus mom of 2 beautiful little boys. And I have to tell you, every day we're combating messaging. Every day we're working on sharing emotions, expressing anger. We're working on things as parents to ensure that we are raising emotionally healthy, mature, communicative young men in the future. So I'm really concerned that that's not happening. What I'm understanding is that yes, this is 100% a pew-pew access to pew-pew problem, but as a culture, we are raising violent human beings. The overexposure and glorification of violence in our households has to stop. You have got to get a hold of what we are showing, teaching, exposing our children to, and being better, more present parents, because this is a problem in white households. So if we are white parents, we have to do something about it.
This is why people don't trust white people, because it is peak whiteness and colonizer behavior to demand civility for a man who denies others their humanity. That's the oppressor, and we do not need to sympathize or empathize with them. And don't get me wrong, because I long for a world where there is no violence in it. But until all of us are free, none of us are free. And violence is part of the equation because of the oppressor, not the oppressed. We need to understand that violence comes in many forms, and white people need to learn it most of all. And if none of that is enough to convince you, then how about the fact that Charlie Kirk said empathy is a made-up New Age word that does harm, and that is the one directive of his that I am willing to honor.
No more complaining about how hard it is to be a white guy. Do you understand how insulting that is? It's so hard to be a white guy right now. We just won the right to do what we want with our bodies 50 years ago, and it's being taken away from us today. So don't call us hysterical. We're not hysterical, okay? We're not hysterical. Your opinions on racism and sexism are irrelevant. You're not the victims of that. You're the perpetrators.
I think white people think that other people want to be them. I think they think other people want to be white. They actually think that people are looking at them ordering Charlie Kirks at Starbucks in a show of solidarity and thinking, God, I wish that was fucking me. They think people want to be like them. Bro, nobody wants to be like white people.
White people are the most miserable fucking people on the face of this fucking earth, and also the most fucking judgy. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? And I know I am one of y'all, but I'm not gonna say us, because this is a part I am not part of. I'm not a miserable motherfucker. I mean, white women especially. I mean, like, So many women on that pew pew post I did about MAGA Man, they're like, why do you need a pew pew? What's wrong with you? Blah, 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 blah. And the other thing is like, you know, these women who on the post where I cuss, like, why do you have to cuss so much? Why are you cussing? And then when I chew my gum, like, why are you chewing gum? That's so disgusting. Spit that gum out. I mean, it's just bitching about some shit all the fucking time. As I learned very early on here from a black woman who said this, and I've repeated it since, if it don't apply, scroll on by. If you don't like me chewing fucking gum, if you don't like me saying fuck, if you don't like me having a pew pew, I don't need to fucking know about it. Just scroll the fuck on. I don't care what you think about me, or me owning a pew pew, or me chewing gum, or me saying fuck 500 times in a video. It's not your business, and I don't care. So just save yourself the however many minutes of energy that it takes you to type out that comment, Karen, and just scroll on by. And then, of course, we all know white men are the most fucking miserable assholes on the face of this earth. And I've talked about that a lot because they like to come on here and try to drag you when you're not the perfect little white woman.
I'm gonna say this one time real loud with my full chest, so go ahead and hear me out on this one. If working is mandatory, if labor is something we are required to do in order to prove we deserve our existence, if we have no choice but to choose an occupation whether or not we want it, if you are forcing me to sell my body to do somebody else's labor and telling me I have no other choice and neither does anyone else, you shouldn't have any other choice but to give us a roof over our heads, food for our stomachs, and whatever else we need to survive! If you want us to be forced to work, but do not want to guarantee life necessities, that is slavery, you fuckwads! This country loves slavery, they just rebranded it! And don't tell me to leave! I would if I had the fucking money! But that's the whole point of this system, you dumb fucks! Fuck this country!
Something that really happened, and something that was, I think, you know, they say that if a child is not trained by his parents or her parents, or if a child does not listen to what the parents say, he will listen to what the world say. Okay, if a child is not raised well or by his or her parents, he or she will be raised by the world. That is a say that is in Africa, and a say that is amongst the black culture. And right now I can say, and it's not just saying because, you know, the truth is that I think a lot of white people are being taught right now by the world. Yeah, they are being taught by the world, no longer by their parents, no longer by the people who are close to them when they needed to be taught the right direction, to be given the right artifacts, to be given the right doctrine and all that. Nobody was there to actually try and give them all of that. But now, I think right now, what is happening right now, the world is trying to teach now the white people how you're supposed to live like a human, okay? I would blame the people who were there before. I would blame the system that was put in place to try and confuse the people. I would blame it so badly. I won't blame the white people because some of them, they found the system existing and they had to live according to the system. You see, there's a certain system you find existing and you can't change it. There's a certain system you find moving in the midst of your people, in the community, in the society, and you can't change it. You see, white people being lied to and being told the false narratives about the black people, about everything that is happening in the world, about who they are, about their personality, about their history, like everything was a lie. And many of them realized later on that this was a lie, and they felt like we needed to change something. We needed to do a difference, to make a difference on this. We needed to come to live in a different way. Yeah. You're told how you're better than a black person when you're all human beings. You're told how Africa is poor when you know very well the country you're living in is surviving because of associating itself to an African countries. Okay, you're told on how you are superior when you know very well that your countries have been built by the slaves. Yeah, the greatest things in your country, the White House, the Washington DC, and many other things have been built by you. You're told on how white or black people are uncivilized when the governments that are, or the system that is put in place is making the black people look less superior or look less civilized and all that. That government that is oppressing the black people, telling you that these people are supposed to be oppressed, these people are supposed to be poor, they're supposed to live this kind of a life that they're living. And that is why it was difficult for you or for anybody to come across or to find a white person as having empathy or creating empathy towards a black person, because how can you have empathy on somebody who is supposed to be suffering, or on somebody who is supposed to be going through difficult times or difficult things? How is supposed to be sympathizing with somebody who is supposed to be poor, or poverty is a subject to him, is subjected to him? He is a subject to poverty. Yeah, somebody who is supposed to be living a difficult kind of a life, somebody who is positioned to an animal, like to look like an animal. He is being placed in a position of an animal. And that is how they saw the black people. Not because they wanted to see the black people that way, but because that is what they were taught. That is what was in the system. And for years they lived a life knowing that blacks are this kind of people and we are this kind of people. Okay? They lived knowing that in Africa we are living in forests, and therefore we are like animals. We are less humans. Okay, so how can I respect a less human and all that? Yeah, that is why racism was in high numbers. That is why segregation was in high numbers. That is why it was easy for these rules like Jim Crow's and many other rules to be performed and to be pushed easily, because people were taught that, these people are this kind of people. Look at what happened. If you listen to Tim Wise, I like using his example when he says that, the rich white people decided to create enmity between the poor white people and the black people, because the rich white people feared the growth of the black people, how the black people were tremendously growing in America and trying to become something very big, something very excellent. And they felt like, if these people continue growing in this way, or if they continue growing up and coming up in this way, they're going to be a threat. They're going to even rule over us and all that. And the only thing you can do is to make this power enemy. Because they couldn't do it by themselves, they had to manipulate the poor white people to hate on the black people, telling them the problem we have in our country is the black people. And the poor white people knew that the problem we have is the black people. It was a lie. Black people are not the problem. The rich white people were the problem, because they feared to be overtaken by the black people. Black people have an initial brain that is strong, and they're intelligent and intellectual. Like, they're people who are just excellent in everything, and therefore it takes them less hard work, or it takes them less strength for them to become something strong. So it takes them a very short time for them to become a great thing that they want to be. Okay? And therefore, in everything they used to do, they used to come out successful. Rich white people sitting down and feeling like, well, now these people are coming, it's really going to, it's really threatening us. What are we going to do? We're going to find a solution for this. We're going to find something that is going to put this to limit. And that is what really happened. White people growing up, poor white people especially, and the middle class growing up knowing that, black people are the problems for years. And then they begin creating attitude. They begin having a certain attitude and certain behavior toward the black people, a certain character toward the black people. And that is how everything happened, you see. But it has been a problem after problem. A problem after problem. Right now, many of them are beginning to understand and to see we've been lied for years. Everything we're told, even about ourselves, even about our history, it wasn't what was it. We were made to look like people that we were not. We were made to look superior. Well, we were not superior. We were made to look greater, but we were not greater. We were made to look like the chosen ones and the people who everybody needs to bow down to us, while we were not. And right now, they're saying that we need to change. We need to accept and change. I love that because it is the first step of solving a solution. If you are a problem, you accept. If you are suffering from a certain disease, you accept for you to be treated by the doctor. Yeah, they say that mficha uchi azai. If a woman or if a lady does not want to show his nakedness, if a lady is afraid of showing his nakedness, she'll never give birth. That is what that means. Okay, which means you have to accept who you really are before a solution is made or before a problem is solved, and that is one of the best thing that I've found in this video. That is one of the best thing that I've come across when they've decided to accept the fact that there is a problem and they are the problem and they're ready to counter this problem. Yeah. Tell me what you think in the comment section about this video, and then I will appreciate and I'll be glad to read all your comments and give a response where possible. I am the African Streamline. Thanks for coming and thanks for always being here. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Get every episode as it really comes in. You're my greatest people. I love you so much wherever you are. I know whatever the thing that you're doing, God bless you so much. For the returning subscribers, you know what I do? I salute you. You're the best people. I love you so much because you keep on coming and coming and coming. That is showing some kind of I don't know how to call it, maybe faithfulness, but it is love. I love it. Thank you so much. Now, let's tune in. Let's keep on coming. Let's keep on staying here so they can be able to get everything as it really comes in. Thanks so much. Until next time, until next episode, peace be with you. God bless you.